The detectives intensified their questioning, cutting to the core. Who did this to your family? Their blunt, unrelenting words sliced through the air, but Grant continued his denials. The room was suffused with tension. Grant's faltering eyes betrayed his mounting unease as the detectives highlighted the inconsistencies in his tale. Despite the evidence pointing squarely at him, Grant refused to confess. Ultimately, justice prevailed. Grant was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder. During his trial, he showed no remorse, instead blaming his family for his actions. This wasn't just a crime, it was a chilling tale of selfishness and greed spiraling into unimaginable violence.
Right now,
I could shoot my buddies out in like Capitol Forest and stuff, you know, like every other weekend. I'm not an asshole guy. I'm always like, hey, don't do that. You know, it's not safe. Oh no, don't do it. It's not safe. Fucking wear your eye pro and ear pro. It's not safe. Like, and then I'm that guy that's always just hassle. And my buddies go out there, they can drink alcohol, and I'm the one guy that doesn't. And like, this is the shit that happens to me.
This year's cases have been nothing short of shocking, each suspect reacting in ways no one could anticipate. Our first story introduces Skylar Nemitz, a young soldier who seemed to have a perfect marriage. But suspicion turned his love into a nightmare. After suspecting his wife, Danielle Rippin, of being unfaithful, Skylar shot her in the head. In the interrogation room, Skylar tried to claim it was an accident. However, his trembling voice and evasive eyes couldn't fool the detectives. Was this truly an accident, or was it a crime fueled by uncontrollable jealousy?
I hear about my buddies fighting with their girlfriends and wives, and I never do. I love my wife so much.
you guys never fight, you say?
we have a little bickering, and she's like, but I've never laid a hand on her my entire life, and I never plan to. I never.
So how long were you guys on the field for? Almost from
the 27th of September to today. I left this morning. I left it.
And how long have you guys been married?
We got married on March 7th of 2013.
March 7th, 2013.
Yeah, so for 5 more months, and we'd be 2 years.
Okay. And so how many
much more.
Yeah, how many times have you guys been deployed in that time and then separated?
When I got here, my unit had just gotten back from deploying within 2 weeks before, and we had been on yellow cycles, so we don't deploy anymore.
Okay. So so you guys have been married a little over a year. So in that time frame, how much time have you guys spent away?
We've been together before we got married. We were together, but not marriage-wise. Yeah. And I've been gone for months at a time, and then I went to basic, and I was gone for whatever the fuck time that was, whatever.
So you guys like high school? I think that's the first thing I would have done. I wouldn't have done anything else.
Went off, I threw the rifle in there, I went in there and I looked at her, and she wasn't moving, and her head was like on the right side, like that, but she was still facing the computer, and I didn't know what the fuck to do, and for some reason, some part of me just said, oh my God, there's alcohol in my system.
Skylar insisted he loved his wife and claimed they had no major issues, yet his story began to fall apart. He admitted to tampering with the crime scene and hiding the magazine after the shooting. These actions weren't those of an innocent man. Detectives saw through his lies as Skylar's emotions began to unravel under pressure. Every word revealed more inconsistencies, raising the question, was this an accident, or was it an intentional act driven by rage?
And then I don't know why that hit me, but as you said, why am I worried about a little miss? I don't know why, but I just did.
Not only that, but you first thing you want to do is hide the magazine. Just knock them off the floor, or onto the floor, and kick them under the bed. So you're altering the crime scene. You're altering the fucking scene.
I don't know anything.
This tells me somebody that acted out of rage and out of anger. You acted out of rage and out of anger. You shot your wife in the back of the head. And then after you did it, you realized what you did and realized, oh my God, this is permanent. How stupid was I to do this? Now what am I going to do to cover this up? What can I come up with? That's what this tells me.
It was not out of rage, and it was not out of anger. I wasn't angry at my wife.
It wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident.
You intentionally pulled the fucking trigger.
Me firing the weapon, or me pulling the trigger was not an accident. Okay. I did not know there was a round in there. Her getting hit with that round, that was that, and I was not. It was an accident, and I was not mad. I was not angry. And
it's not an accident. You're right. It was not an accident. You did this intentionally. Because if this was an accident, if you had accidentally shot your wife, you would have dropped the weapon right there, went over there, and started rendering CPA or first aid because you felt horrible. This was an act of rage. You were mad for some reason, and you shot her.
No, I'm mad at my wife.
And then you went
and tried to hide everything.
To include fucking alcohol and kick magazines underneath the bed, throw the gun in the closet like it didn't fucking happen. Oh shit, it didn't happen, all gone. Hands clean.
Skylar's contradictions grew more evident as the interrogation progressed. He confessed to shooting his wife, but continued to deny it was intentional. Detectives, using their sharp instincts, recognized that this wasn't a mistake. Skylar struggled to maintain his composure, showing signs of guilt and panic. When the detectives exposed his lies, he eventually admitted his wrongdoing. Skylar was sentenced to 13 years for first-degree manslaughter, a sobering reminder of how jealousy can lead to irreversible consequences.
Skylar.
Yes. I did not.
Your wife deserves the right answer, man, not this fucking
She
bullshit.
does deserve the right answer.
Then
and
tell
I
it.
love my wife. I did not kill her.
You did kill her.
I did kill her. I was not angry at her. I was not mad. I did not intentionally mean to murder my wife. I love my wife with a huge passion, okay? We are young. We have not been together that long, and I understand that. And everybody does not fucking like that. And they don't like seeing young couple be like that, okay? But I do love my wife. And I've never had a problem with her that was major. I've never wanted to hurt her in any way. I've never put my hand on her, okay? And I would never want to do that ever. And today, especially, nothing wanted to happen to her, okay? I made love to her when I got home, and she wanted to relax, and I wanted to relax. So I watched a movie, and she was on working, okay? One thing led to another. I'm fucking not even thinking straight, clearing a weapon, and it goes off, and it strikes my
No,
wife.
you pulled the trigger. It didn't just go off. Skylar, you pulled the trigger oriented at your wife.
I understand that.
That's the part we don't understand. That's the one piece that you're not making.
I don't understand it myself. I don't understand why I took that weapon. I don't understand why I decided that I need to put that fucker on fire and just fire right there and have it up in my fucking chest when I was firing it. I don't know why the fuck I did that. I'm a fucking idiot for doing it. I know fucking that, and that's fucked. I know that when I know I'm a fucking idiot for doing that, and I wasn't thinking fucking straight, but I did not intentionally mean to shoot my wife. Okay, the direction of the weapon was towards her, but I did not intentionally mean for that to hit her. I don't know if you're trying to accuse me of killing. I understand I killed my wife. I killed my fucking wife. Okay, I killed my wife.
You're not going to get an argument here. I'm just trying to figure out why.
Our next story takes a darker turn. Fidel Lopez, a young man in a passionate relationship with Maria Nemitz, let his uncontrollable anger lead to an unimaginable tragedy. After a night of partying, Maria accidentally called out her ex-husband's name during an intimate moment. This mistake sent Fidel into a blind rage. He brutally attacked Maria, leaving a crime scene so gruesome that even seasoned detectives were left shaken. What was going through Fidel's mind that night? Was it a momentary lapse in judgment or the unveiling of a deep-seated cruelty?
We got a little bit of a problem. Yes. All right. I just got off the phone with our crime scene, and the medical examiner is there. Okay, the doctor, and there's the injury to her is severe injuries. Severe injuries. Yes. Multiple injuries inside there. Tissue ripped out.
What is that?
Tissue inside. All the insides out on the floor.
What else? That's the cause of the death?
Yeah. We think. You know the amount of blood that's in there? Her insides were ripped out.
listen, I'd like to be able to stand up on your behalf and say, listen, he was extremely remorseful. He had no intentions for this to happen. Okay? He didn't mean to do this. But unfortunately, this is why it happened. He had too much to drink, and he had an argument in between that and the drinking and everything else. X, Y, and Z, whatever it may have been. But you have to explain that so we can explain it to other people to make you, he's human. It happens. Okay?
In the interrogation room, Fidel initially blamed alcohol and a heated argument for his actions. But that the detectives weren't buying it. Through relentless questioning, they uncovered the truth. Fidel confessed Maria's slip of the tongue had triggered his rage, leading to her horrific death. To avoid the death penalty, Fidel pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. This case is a chilling testament to the destructive power of unchecked anger.
You didn't intend to kill her.
Of course not.
Right. So explain to us what took place that led up to it. You know. You don't want to remember. But I know you do remember. And it takes a man, a true man, to admit, okay, I fucked up, man. I made a mistake. I had no intention to kill her. I had no intention of doing it, but this is what happened. It takes a man to do that. It takes more of a man to admit when he's wrong, and it takes a man to cry. Be that man. Be that person, because that's who you are.
She was telling me she going to Peru. She needed to go to Peru because she was missing her mother, and and I'm not gonna be able to use the car to go to work, and just start screaming at me and all that. I get pissed. I start punching the shit. I really don't remember when I punched the shit. You just tell me. I know I get pissed because of that. Then after that, I don't know how we ended up in the cross or whatever. I know we made peace, but when we were doing making love, she told me something that I really don't. It just she changed my name. She called me the other fucking name of the other guy, and then she said it twice.
The next story is just as shocking. Grant Amato, a man obsessed with a cam girl, spent over $200,000 of his family's money to lavish her with gifts. When his family confronted him, instead of showing remorse, Grant chose a path of unthinkable violence. He killed his parents and brother. In the interrogation room, Grant tried to portray himself as the victim, crafting a story about an abusive father to justify his actions. But was there any truth to his claims? Or was it just a calculated attempt to cover up his heinous crime?
And she was wrong. She was confusing me with him. I didn't want to kill her. I know I killed her. That's whatever I did with her.
During the interview, Amato made baseless claims against his father in a bid to make it look as if he feared for his life.
Well, so I'm sure him and Mom are both happy to see, that both of you going to that program.
Right.
You can make more. You always want your child to do better than you.
Right, and I mean, that was what my dad always emphasized. When we were younger, going through grade school and high school and college, we were heavily restricted, but we were allowed to do some things. Like, it wasn't like Jason's situation where he was just like the door's locked, you're staying in there type thing.
And who was that? Who was keeping? Who was the disciplinary in the family?
My dad.
And was he the one that decided Jason stays
Yes.
locked in?
Yeah.
What did Mom think about that?
Mom didn't approve of it, obviously, but back in that time, my dad was a very, angry, violent type person.
Overbearing?
Overbearing. He would push my mom, and, one instance,
As the interrogation continued, Grant's true nature began to emerge. He painted a picture of a controlling and abusive father, but the detective saw through his fabricated story. Piece by piece, they unraveled the lies, exposing Grant as a cold-blooded killer who murdered his family to protect his selfish lifestyle. Ultimately, Grant was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. His story is a dark tale of obsession, greed, and betrayal.
It was getting to that age where me and Cody were kind of getting old enough to maybe be able to do something if she needed our help. And I remember her and my dad were like in their room, which if you go down the stairs, it's right there to the left. We heard our mom yell that he's hurting me, and then me and Cody run downstairs and we go into the room, and then we're trying to get our dad off of our mom, and then my dad elbows back, and that's why my nose has got its little like bridge right there. But I mean, that's like how he was, like spankings with a 2x4, you know, like baseball practice, it'd be like 4 or 5 hours, and he's hurling the ball as fast as an adult can, and we're like 7th, 8th grade trying to catch this stuff. Yeah, I mean, definitely very overbearing, but he would always rationalize that he's just trying to like secure our future.
Violent towards the family?
Violent towards my mom and towards me, never to and towards Jason, but never to Cody.
Why?
I mean,
Cody his favorite?
Yeah.
Of
I mean,
the 3 boys?
Yeah. And with that, I mean, I could kind of see it, but Cody also never really made any mistakes. He did a few things wrong. He lied a few times. You know, he cost my dad some money a few times, but he was never like a repeat offender, I guess you could say, whereas me and Jason, you know, we had that difficulty where it's like, okay, we got a C or we got a D on something, and I just don't want to tell Dad about it.
Sure.
But then he would find out, and then, you know.
Dad ever abuse you?
When we were younger.
How so?
Spankings with like a 2x4, and then, you know, he'd use like, I mean, it was like a 2x4 that was fashioned into a paddle called the lightning rod, I think is what it was called. No, he broke it on me.
I'd be sorry, I would probably take it to my dad, take it out and burn it.
Yeah.
So he didn't have it anymore.
But, yeah, he would,
In the interrogation room, Grant Amato continued to recount his childhood, painting a picture of his father as a strict and authoritarian figure who used a wooden plank to discipline his sons. Grant attempted to portray his family as dysfunctional, rife with resentment and underlying tensions, but the detectives weren't buying it. Their questions became sharper, their tone more forceful, as they dismantled Grant's excuses one by one. When they presented him with chilling crime scene photos of his slain family, the tension in the room became palpable. Grant's gaze wavered, and his composure began to crack. Still, he adamantly denied any wrongdoing, clinging desperately to his fabricated story. Yet the weight of the truth was pressing down on him, moment by moment.
You know, he'd do that, and then he'd push you around. Like, he wouldn't punch you. He wouldn't bruise you.
Slap you?
He never slapped me. But I guess I should say the only place that I ever got bruised was on my butt from being spanked.
Belittle you?
He would belittle me when I was younger, but again...
How long since you've been out of work?
Kohi saves the detective time by admitting right away that he has committed murder.
And how did you get here? I murdered someone. Okay.
Kohi doesn't hide any of the details of his brutal murder.
So, I grabbed my knife, I put on 3 layers of gloves, because plastic gloves can betray their users because they're so thin, those vinyl gloves, by imprinting your fingerprints through. So I put on 2, 3 on one hand. I took the knife, I pulled back the canvas, and I stabbed his neck. Okay. He was panicking at first in his old man's voice. He was in his 50s. I know why I call him an old man. He was saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah!" And I just kept on stabbing his neck. Is it okay if I do a demonstration? Oh, yeah. This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking a sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time I was growling and making animalistic noises. Why were you doing that? I suppose it was a frenzy.
While Grant tried to mask his guilt, Brian Kohi was a completely different story. He openly admitted to killing a homeless man, claiming he did it purely for the thrill of taking a life. Kohi's confession was chilling. He described every detail with cold precision, from wearing multiple layers of gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints to repeatedly stabbing his victim in the neck. Shockingly, Kohi even reenacted the murder without hesitation, remarking on how surprisingly easy it was to take a life. This level of detachment left detectives stunned. Kohi's lack of remorse earned him a life sentence with no chance of parole.
Oh my God!
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here. Come here, please. Come here.
Can't fix this.
Why not? I didn't do anything
I
to
heard
you.
you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
While DiPolito wanted to get rid of her husband as soon as she could, Brittany Gosney was desperate to keep the affection of her most recent boyfriend, James Hamilton. Hamilton was not enthusiastic about being a father figure to Gosney's young kids, and often used extreme measures to punish them for the smallest of infractions. This inspired Gosney to try to abandon the children, and her son was pulled under the tires of the van after attempting to hang on.
Okay. So, but at what point did the kids start really being an issue? Because you guys have been together, what, how long? Altogether
That
about?
was either March or May of last year. I can't really remember.
Right. So you've been together for almost a year.
Almost a year. Yeah.
Okay. So, at what point did the kids really start being an issue?
Well,
Dahlia DiPolito thought she had everything planned when she hired a hitman to kill her husband. But her world crumbled when her husband appeared alive, and her plan was exposed. The shock and panic in her voice betrayed her as she desperately tried to deny her involvement. At the same time, Brittany Gosney and her boyfriend, James Hamilton, were embroiled in a tragedy of their own. In an attempt to keep her boyfriend happy, Brittany decided to abandon her son. When the boy clung to the van, pleading for his mother not to leave him, Brittany heartlessly drove off, dragging him to his death. That night, they kept the boy's body in their apartment, struggling to come up with a way to hide their crime. Could they really escape the weight of their actions?
I mean, one minute they'd be an issue, we punish them, put them in a corner. I mean, we tried mass things with these kids, make them hang goods in their hands, tippy toes, fingertips on the walls. Nothing was working with them, nothing at all. Me and her started getting into it real hot and heavy over it. I told her, I said, I can't be putting up with this. I said, I just left this same relationship because of the same issues.
Sure.
I mean, my stepdaughter towards the end, she started acting up real bad towards me, telling me, oh, I hate you, I don't want you
How
here.
old was she?
16.
And that was...
I'm sorry, 7.
And that was Priscilla's daughter?
Yes, the one I raised.
The one you raised.
6 months old.
So, how long into your relationship with Brittany did the kids really start becoming, let's say, borderline unbearable?
About 2 months ago.
About 2 months ago.
Yes.
And
then I kept arguing with her.
That's when everything really started jumping
I kept
off.
telling her, I said, either you need to find somewhere to go with you and your disrespectful kids.
Right.
Or I'm leaving. Well, I guess she got tired that night when me and her got into it. She went up there, took them, kept telling me she's going to take them and drop them off. I said, I don't care what you do with them.
Sure.
I said, I ain't
You'd
got
have
no
it.
part in it.
Right.
I said, you go ahead and take my bed, do whatever you want with them.
Sure.
I mean, I wasn't refusing her a vehicle to where she could take them to her sisters, her moms, I mean, something. And next thing I know, I get that text from her.
And what the text said?
On my way back, he's dead. I mean, she told me she was taking them up to Rush Run and dropping them off. Me and her done it twice before as a scare tactic.
Had taken him up to Rose's room?
We dropped him off right there by the bathroom. I'll drive out by the exit there, turn around right back in.
James Hamilton may not have directly caused the boy's death, but he wasn't innocent. He stood by, helping Brittany dispose of the body by throwing it into a river and attempting to erase all evidence of their crime. Detectives couldn't comprehend the coldness of their actions. How could a mother do this to her child? How could someone stand by and let it happen? While these questions might never have answers, one thing was certain. Both of them had to face the consequences of their cruelty.
That being said, we've already discussed the water temperature, the preservation. It's kind of like being in a little deep freezer.
Yeah.
And so when we pull him out, is, in your opinion, a pathologist, a coroner, a whatever, going to be able to determine a large number of bruising to his body before he was killed?
Yes. From me and her.
Okay. What was that about?
Whooping his ass.
I need you to understand something, okay? Do you know what you're going to be charged with when I take you back over to the jail?
No.
What do you think you're going to be charged with?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about the charges. Never been in jail.
You're going to be charged in your daughter's death.
Hmm?
You're going to be charged with her death.
What you mean?
She passed away. She was dead when you guys called us. She was already dead.
My daughter is dead?
She's dead. Sierra, she was dead for hours before you called 911.
When she sees that she isn't selling her grief, Day takes it up a notch.
Sierra Day, another mother, chose to please her new boyfriend by mistreating her own daughter. The little girl endured starvation and neglect until her frail body finally gave out. When her daughter passed away, Sierra attempted to put on a show of grief in front of detectives, but her fake tears did little to mask the truth. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Sierra had planned to make her daughter's death look like an accident. However, the justice system didn't buy her act. Sierra was sentenced to life in prison for her horrific actions. But could that sentence ever make up for the life she stole?
And I can see it in her face. A child for a child not to really get whooped isn't something. It's very something new to them. Miss, I could have prevented from her death. I could have prevented my daughter's death. I could prevent it. I could prevent it. I know you're prolonged to do this. I know she prolonged to do this because she was scared. I didn't think she was gonna die. I didn't think she was gonna die.
So she was going to fine, but then she took off her diaper again. So that got my wife angry. And so, when you're 5 years old, you still don't know how to move the potty. And my wife got angry and hit her head on the carpet, 2 times. And initially she was breathing. She was still breathing then. And
Did you watch? Did you see your wife do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was home at that time.
What time was it about?
Usually after I drop off at 9-ish. I can't say approximately because I don't look at a time. Oh, my wife is banging Ashley said on the carpet. It was 9:15. 9-ish, 9:15, I guess.
Young Ashley Xiao endured relentless abuse from her own mother, Ming Ming. Not only did Ming Ming lack patience, but she also showed no understanding or compassion for Ashley's developmental challenges. On that fateful day, Ashley's simple act of removing her diaper sent her mother into a blind rage. In her anger, Ming Ming slammed Ashley's head against the floor twice. Her father later described the horrifying moment. Ashley was still breathing at first, but her condition quickly worsened. Desperate, he attempted CPR for what felt like an eternity, but it was too late. Ashley was gone. It was a moment of undeniable guilt and panic for the parents, a moment that would forever change everything.
Okay, and so
right then she wasn't breathing?
No, she was breathing. She was breathing, and it's like, okay, so she's still breathing. She's okay.
Was there any blood or anything?
No, there's just blood.
Was she walking?
No, she wasn't walking. She was breathing, but she was lying down, and I thought she was going to come out of it in a little bit, So she stopped, but I didn't realize she stopped. I thought she was breathing normally now, because she was gasping, like it was. I can't really remember or recall exactly what, but it was a lot heavier than normal. So it sounded like a snore almost.
Okay.
So at that point she stopped. I thought, okay, so she's breathing normally now. So didn't really pay attention to it. And then a little later, I went to hold her and just didn't feel right. And I checked her heart. It stopped beating. So I started panicking, and I tried to do CPR on her, try to breathe in her mouth, and give her chest compressions. I don't exactly know how long I did that for. I know I did it for a pretty darn long time, maybe 15 minutes to a half an hour or something like that. And that's when we realized she's gone. Like I tried, and I told my wife so kind, I just realized it too.
Instead of seeking help, Ming Ming and her husband chose a darker, more sinister path. Fearing that Ming Ming's illegal immigration status would be exposed, they decided to hide Ashley's body in the freezer at their restaurant. They concocted a gruesome plan to stage a scene where Ashley had left the restaurant and presumably met with an accident or disappeared. They even roped in Jojo, an unsuspecting employee, to unknowingly corroborate their fabricated story. But what could drive two parents to such horrifying lengths? Was it pure fear of exposure, or was it selfish indifference to their daughter's life? Their story, which they believed was airtight, would soon crumble under the weight of truth. Their attempts to bury their guilt only revealed the dark depths of their actions. The question remained, could justice uncover what they so desperately tried to conceal?
We couldn't decide what to do, and after a while we decided, both of us, I don't know exactly who came up with what, but we should bring her to the restaurant so Jojo can see her. So Jojo, when you guys ask her, I was thinking maybe that wasn't a good idea, but I wasn't thinking clearly at the time. So, bring her to the restaurant so Jojo can see her, so that when we call, Jojo can say, oh, she was here at the restaurant and she left the back door at the restaurant instead of, at the house. She accidentally got killed. So,
where were you gonna put her at the restaurant so Jojo could see her?
At the room that she was normally in, she sleeps in there. So, Jojo will see that she's sleeping there and can verify it, and she's sick. So, and even if you ask her to take a polygraph, I don't know if you ask a 6-year-old to take a polygraph, but a 6-year-old wouldn't lie like that. And so we didn't want Jojo to lie, so we want Jojo to see Ashley there.
Okay. So you take Ashley to the restaurant. How do you get Ashley from the apartment to the restaurant?
Put her in a car seat.
Did you carry her out to the car?
Yeah.
Did she have her jacket on?
Yes.
Okay. What color is your car?
It's a rental car. It's like black or dark gray.
Okay. So you drove that to the store. Was there a gentleman looking on the roof?
Yes.
Okay.
The story of Xiao and his wife takes a chilling turn as they decide to transport their daughter's lifeless body to their restaurant. Their plan? To stage the scene, making it appear as though their daughter was simply unwell and sleeping. They even involved an unsuspecting employee, Jojo, to validate their alibi. It's horrifying to think about the cold calculation behind their actions. Instead of grief or remorse, Xiao and his wife prioritized covering up their crime. Xiao eventually agreed to testify against his wife in exchange for a lighter sentence. But does that erase his part in this heartless scheme?
Your daughter, did you carry her in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They saw me.
Okay. Yeah.
there was 2 guys on the roof, working on the roof or something like that. And we brought her inside and we just laid her there. And we just continued our work. The plan was for Jojo to come home and see her there to verify that she's there. And then I would hide her up in on top of the walk-in freezer. And then when we called the police at night, Jojo could verify that she was there.
Well, a few hours ago, police were dispatched to an address on Stony Brook that the parents' house, Shad Therian. Do you know Shad? And how do you know Shad?
He's my ex.
He's your ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
Well, they found a kind of disturbing stuff at the house there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. Basically Shad's head. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. And then, so we know you were there.
I need time to, think.
No problem. Take your time, have some water.
Taylor Shabasinus's actions defy comprehension. After a night of partying and using meth with friends, she returned home with her boyfriend, Shad Therian. What began as an intimate encounter spiraled into a violent nightmare. Shabasinus choked Shad to death, and her response to her crime was as unsettling as the act itself. During her interrogation, she casually admitted to cuddling Shad's severed head by the bed. Her demeanor was disturbingly calm, showing no hint of regret, only indifference. How does someone reach a point where human life means so little?
So you think the body's still there?
I don't see why not. Unless it's just up and move, which it could have, you know.
Where do you think the body would be?
I was right there by the bed.
By the bed, you think?
Yeah, I was cuddling it by the bed.
You were what?
I was cuddling it by the bed.
You were cuddling the body with the bed? Oh, okay. Was it just you and Shad down in the basement?
Yeah.
Was anybody else down there at any point in time? When do you think you went to Shad's house?
Shit. What was it, like 2 days ago?
Okay. Did you stay there the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You start to remember now what happened with Shad? Alright, so you and Shad went back.
He's not involved at all.
Okay. So you and Shad went back to Shad's mom's house. How'd you get in? Did you see, was anybody home?
The door was unlocked. We went in.
What time do you think this was?
That's a good question.
Was anybody home? Did you encounter anybody? I understand his mom lives there.
Tara?
Tara?
I don't know. Is that the mom's name?
Yes.
Damn, the head. I can't believe I left the head though.
Where'd you do the body?
The body's there. Yeah. It's,
Were we gonna take the head somewhere?
I like that.
You liked it?
As investigators pressed for details, Shabasinus's lack of remorse became more apparent. She openly described the gruesome process of dismembering Shad's body, even joking about how a bread knife worked well for the task. What's even more unsettling is her admission that she grew lazy, leaving body parts scattered around the house. Her twisted detachment from the gravity of her actions left detectives and jurors stunned. This wasn't just murder, it was a horrifying display of cruelty and disregard for life.
Well, you're gonna have fun trying to look for all the organs, but yeah, they're all dismembered. Yeah.
So you dismembered the body too?
Yeah.
Well, what did you do with the body parts?
Oh, they're in the house.
Somewhere?
They're like,
Basement, upstairs, downstairs?
Absolutely in the basement. I was gonna bring them with them. And then, I know I forgot the head. I wanted the head.
Did you bring anything with you?
Yeah, it's in the van.
What?
It's in the van. It's, what is it?
foot maybe.
The what?
I think it's a foot.
A foot?
leg, a leg maybe. I don't know. I'm like, I'm gonna bring it all, and then I'm like, man, this is messy. So then I just left it. I got lazy.
Okay.
I got lazy, and that's what I did. So I'm like,
Okay. So there's gonna be maybe a foot or a leg in the van. And then,
yeah.
what did you do with the head?
I forgot that was in the van, so yeah.
What did you do with the head?
The head, I put it in that bucket, that black bucket.
A black bucket?
With the blanket on top.
Okay.
I should have it with me.
And then where'd you leave it?
Leave the head? It's still in the bucket. It's right by the stairs.
By the stairs? How did you dismember his body then?
Knives.
With what?
Knives.
Knives? Just more than one knife?
About 4.
Where'd you get those from?
Kitchen. So I couldn't find mine, and I wasn't sharp enough.
Shad's dismembered body parts were found throughout the house, with his head discovered in a bucket by his own mother. The shock and trauma of such a discovery are unimaginable. In court, it took the jury less than 30 minutes to convict Shabusiness of first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. With the death penalty not an option in Wisconsin, Shabusiness now faces life in prison. Her crime is a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity.
You weren't sharp?
No. It was alright. Bread knife works good.
Bread knife?
A bread knife works good, yeah.
Really?
I had to use what I used, so like, yeah. I got lazy last night, so.
Where would these knives be now?
They're in with all the organs and all the body parts.
And where was that?
In the black bag. It's in the black bag of,
In the basement?
It's in the basement. They're all in the basement. I never left the basement. I just went up the stairs.
So all the body parts and...
Ryan, why don't you tell me what really happened there? Because I don't believe.
I really don't know, man. I really don't. I don't know. I could tell you anything, I swear.
I want you to tell me the truth. That's all I want.
Richie and his dad came there. And I don't know why. I don't know why, but they put me in sleeping hold, and like, they put me in sleeping hold with the arrows and shit. Like, I lived through that crap.
Okay, they put you in a sleeping hold?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know, man.
You're telling me they put you in a sleeping hold. What is a sleeping hold?
I don't know.
Finally, we turn to the tragic story of Ryan Waller. Unlike the other cases, Ryan wasn't the perpetrator. He was the victim. After being shot in the head, Ryan was forced to sit through an interrogation about his girlfriend's death. The sight of Ryan, visibly injured and incoherent, should have prompted immediate medical attention. Instead, detectives let him wait over an hour, worsening his condition. His confusion and physical pain were apparent, yet he was treated as a suspect rather than a survivor. This case highlights a devastating failure in the system, a failure that cost Ryan dearly.